Black Dog by Candas Jane Dorsey. First published in a collection of the author's stories called Machine, Sex, and Other Stories in 1988, republished in Land, Space, an anthology of prairie speculative fiction, for which Dorsey acted as co-editor alongside Judy McCroskey. Read by Darrell T. Smith II for my channel, Quasar Spectra. Black Dog. 1. Drawn to the last indistinct cravings of day like a beast to the light, what you can expect from sunset: sadness, nostalgia, flame, death of the sun, birth of night. Night, the tranquil time of blessedness, time when the hard blue bowl is lifted, beneath which by day we labor and scurry and complain of details. Night, freedom, infinity, peace. All this a way to introduce my favorite darkness. I've learned that savagery is the province of day, daylight a cocoon from which by dark I burst, wings unfurling into the cool moonlight, silver and silk. Night is the gossamer time of reflection. Night is the freedom to fly unchecked. Spread your wings, sister, brother. Come speak the once-heard language of aspiration with me. Search for stars and soaring flights of life. Out on the darkling plain I stand where the smooth silver expanse of the snowy field begins. No one larger than the black dog has been there this winter. The dog capers dark across the blankness like a cutout into a deeper night. If I'm ready to live alone now, I'm not ready for complete solitude. Up there in the stars, I read the history of my far-flung traveling friends. They are so far away, and the dog and I stand on this snowfield, freed, watching their gleaming traces in the winter sky. Are they trapped in their destiny, or set free also, freed from their past or the need to see me, or the love that bound them to me? Who gains? Who loses? The eternal and newly minted question. The dog's great feet propel it in long leaps across the shining clearing. When I follow, my feet sink into the snow, and I sink into a moonlight struggle with my breath. I'm older than I want to be, and my body tells me at times like these, remember when you were at the beginning, exploding across every new challenge like this young dog? The dog has crossed to the willows beyond the broken-down fence and is nosing at a deeper shadow beneath the bushes, then leaping back to me with a happy bark. Look what I've found. Is it a child? No, a teenager, huddled back in a down-filled parka, face inside the hood, a smudge broken by the glint of moonlight on eyes and white teeth, a dark face, hands bare, pulled from pockets to push away the dog's friendly face. Afraid? Yes. Back off, dog! Reluctantly, wagging half its body, the dog retreats a few yards. The dog won't hurt you. I reach out my hand. Neither will I. Would you like to come out of the bushes? Silently, the youngster takes my hand to pull upright, then lets go and manages, without moving, to retreat to the furthest corner of the field, the night, the sky. Are you cold? The muffled head nods. The fur on the coat, fur, now shades the face completely. I have tea at my house. Are you hungry? Another nod. Whence sprang this silent apparition? Child of the willows. I laugh. The kid is startled. Don't tremble like that, I say, irritated. It makes me nervous. Where did you come from? Hand out of pocket to point west. wave across the whole quadrant of sky and scrub prairie. Fine. Can you talk? Only another nod. Why don't you then? The shoulders rise in a bulky, expressive shrug. Ridiculous conversation. I whistle for the dog, who has found a chunk of wood under a bush, is standing flirtatiously attentive with the stick in its mouth, ears alert. Might as well get used to the dog. It lives here with me. It's my friend now. It keeps me company. Small, guttural voice. What's its name? Just the black dog. When it's the only dog around, I don't see the need for a name. Silence. The sound of snow and frozen grasses crunching under well-wrapped feet. Mine are boots. The kid has leather? Moccasins? Must have come from a far distant west, somewhere beyond even my line of night vision. You got a name? Good question. By the argument I've applied to the dog, I have no name but the fact of my being. The footsteps I make in the snow were until half an hour ago the only human footsteps. We're following my solitary trail through the birch and poplar and pine, past the stream which, beneath ice, still offers a muffled susurrus. The single footprints don't define me anymore. Not anymore. Call me what you want. Okay. But that's all. And you, Willow Child? Call me what you want. With a brief hand gesture, the youngster turns to the path. The circle completed with such abrupt natural grace, a shadow I walk through, reflexively looking up to see a skiff of cloud, rainbow-edged and insubstantial, blow across the moon. Orion is brightly walking above the fields, warming my face with his archaic splendor. The youngster is oblivious to the sky. If whatever people lived in the West have gone to the stars, as my people have gone, this young one has no tendency to watch their tracks, or maybe avoids now the dangerous heavens. At the cabin where the dog and I live, we humans stamp snow from our feet and shuck off our outer skins. The youngster stands out of the parka as a wiry, slender girl, brown-skinned, black hair roughly hacked short and rumpled around a closed, smooth face. Prove it to me, her glance says, as from her stance as near the double door as possible she studies my home. Do you know where you're going? No. Do you want to stay here? Shrug. The beginning of this relationship is as tough as chewing twigs. Never mind. The dog isn't verbal either. It slouches with a clicking of claws to its rag mat in front of the heater, drops the piece of wood it has carried all the way home, falls into a heap with a great oof of breath. The girl laughs at the oofish sigh, sees me see her face opening in a smile, turns away slowly with the smile fading. I've forgotten how to talk, she says. Everybody is gone where I come from. Here too. If I stay here, what? Whatever you want. There's a place for you if you want it. There's plenty of food for 3. Okay. The shyness between us is washed over with the picayunish of providing blankets, pillows, towels, the spare bed, information about chores, hints, tiny shared pieces of personality. Inside the log-built cabin is like inside the day-domed sky, full of detail and lost to the music and the brilliance of space, stars, and night. Even though I have kept things as simple as I can. I look at my hands, which have lost the roughness of country childhood and the smoothness of city youth, have settled down to accumulate wrinkles, scars, and experience. The flickering lamplight catches the face of the youngster, projects an unreliable shadow, makes her face older, younger, older in its variable illumination. How old are you? I ask, and she turns until she faces me out of the shadows, her black eyes shadows themselves, and smiles directly at me. I'm growing up, she says, and her cheek dimples. She takes my hand in her brown hands, draws me to the table where the lamp sits, holds my hands and hers into the light. Hers are roughened by cold and work, long-fingered with knotted joints. Mine are square, capable hands, well-formed, it's true, but not as long as hers. She puts her palm to mine to show how my palm is wider. She twines her fingers among mine. You don't know, she says, how fast this world here is going around. I get dizzy just trying to stay on. You didn't have to. You didn't either, but you and that dog stayed. Well, it seemed like a good idea at the time. She shrugs, untangles her hand, walks to the curtained door of now her room, stops with a cotton barricade that passes for a door held half aside, in shadow, her face the same dark mystery I saw among the willows. It always does, then, she says, and the curtain falls flat behind her. The dog walks to the curtain, noses around it, stands with hindquarters in this room like half a dog, backs away, comes back to flop beside me, wide chin on my foot. That's right, I say, but not sure if I've talked to the dog, the willow girl, the stars, or my own uncertain self, bereft of stars in this many-celled shelter, house, body, and dreams, and day, and dusk, and night. I am learning how to be dizzy at the speed of consciousness, the speed of light, of synaptic response, of spaceflight, of the Earth's rotation. Why couldn't we use this rapidly whirling sphere like a catapult to hurl us toward expanded consciousness? We've stayed plastered to its surface like desperate lichens, clinging to the rock that has been our only home. Even if we can learn to be dizzy, it's one step toward the same goal sought by those others who swift away from us at damn near the speed of light, those fickle and far-sighted travelers. And for them, their journey is no more than a physical catapulting, taking their weak and limited bodies inside shells of metal and polymer and hurling them frail into the mystery. Still the same bodies, still the same human bickering about the way to proceed. For the time I realize relief, how glad I am to have heard that bickering fade away beyond the earth's ability to hear. How glad I am that silence has fallen again on the night world. To celebrate my relief, I've welcomed more noise into my silent house. Well, that's a little too romantic a description. The dog's unsophisticated breathing echoes from the walls, and I bustle through the activities of daily living with all the clatter they entail. And when I sit and am silent, even if the dog is outside, I can hear my own body ticking away, blood's hushed flow through the vessels, like sound of the stream flowing under ice, heart's stubborn throb, click of joints, and creak of muscles. I make a lot of noise all by myself. 2. My thoughts fall back to that night when I put out my hand to her, as she cowered under a bush hiding from the black dog, and she took my hand and all I offered with it. Then she was afraid of the dog. Now she roughhouses with it under the dapple shade of leafy spring trees. She has the affinity for shadow which she has always had. Her face has grown thinner and more defined, has lost the puffiness of childhood. Out among the stars, the people of Earth are traveling. Here in a small country made of our perceptions, we too are traveling among stars. Though it's now day and the stars are invisible, all of us know they are there. Black dog, brown human, still willow graceful, though her face is welcoming the lines of age. And Me. 3. So easy to die inside without ever again seeing the night. Wasn't what I chose a way of dying inside? To stay inside the well of gravity, as it is called, to stay beneath the blanket of air, to limit my life to this generation, no continuity, no connection? These are the tired doubts which come back to trouble me as I sit before the safe and comfortable heater, warming my aching body against the constant changeable moods of age. Or of humanity. I am no different than I was before the ships left, except that for years I have had fewer people to talk with, to surround me. If it wasn't the Odyssey I had to doubt about, it would be some other preoccupation robbing me of the serenity I thought to have earned by now. What's getting old for, if not to settle doubts? Restless, I shrug into my coat and slide my feet into pile-lined boots, wade through the sticky snow of a Chinook wind until I am among the trees, the cabin behind me. The willow woman catches up to me and walks beside me through the night, her hood back and her hair blowing behind her. She does not have to say anything, but occasionally our eyes meet. We have become friends, though it took some time for her to trust me with her not unusual history of decision and loss. I have found in myself a temptation to walk too much. She smiles and listens, but in her turn, she too can tell long stories from her own and other lives and mythologies. She tells them in formal, patterned sentences, which, like the orderly beating on her winter moccasins, are from the tradition to which she was born and from which she has come a long, long distance. She helps me across the stream unselfconsciously, such a change from the teenaged child who trembled as I hauled her out from among bushes in midwinter. Yet for all her words and smiles and stories, to me she is still the mysterious country in the west. At the fence we sit on a fallen log and watch the sky. Orion, Skywalker, is low, though the night is young. By now I hardly remember to wonder what the other star walkers are doing. I put out my hands, and one at a time she takes them and warms them between hers. My hands are stiffening with arthritic ache, one of the remembered signs of spring. Time is a ponderous, mysterious engine. I cannot imagine how to think properly of it. As a force, a wonder, an absolute. The night's progress to the final night without change or comprehension of how we live like insects clinging to the inexorable path, the blade of grass or flower stem or pine branch that is our immutable span of existence. The dog has lost the playfulness of puppyhood, comes like a shadow through the midnight to lie down beside me with its massive head against my thigh. I'm growing tired, and the willow woman, I still think of her that way, though long since we traded our social daylight names, pulls me up and indicates the homeward path. "You go," I say, and in the full moonlight see her face with the lined signatures of laughter and the rest of the score that life composes. Her face I have always thought was beautiful and mysterious, but in the moonlight it seems to open to me like night itself opens out into infinity. "You always want to be alone with it," she says. "Why, it isn't that," I say. "But how can I remember the lost human race and be lonely when you're distracting me here?" She grins. "Manufacture of melancholy?" But she walks back into the forest, and I hear her leap across the stream. The black dog looks after her, but chooses me, turns again and settles with that rush of spent breath. It can change and grow old and still be the same through all its changes. And from within, I can see myself in the same pattern, learning slowly and living so fast along the timeline. The days, the seasons seem to go by so quickly now, as if now that Earth is almost deserted, there is no drag, no friction of billions to hold it from spinning. 4. After all, the sky is full of something, be it refracted light of day or direct and uncomplicated starlight. Only the stars themselves are uncomplicated, for we make so much of them, running after them like the most opaque of lovers, or most of us did, except the few stubborn ones who wouldn't play sycophant to the universe. I'm sorry, the naked sky will have to get along without me. I like mine cluttered with atmosphere and obscured with diurnal rhythms. Oh, what does it matter? Here at the place where I buried the old black dog when it finally loosed its tenacious hold on the years, that's how long ago I came across a snowy field and found the one other human in my part of the world hiding in the willows, in the snowfield, in the middle of a brilliant night. Nothing is different. That's the curse of the ones left behind, but also the blessing. They'll see light bend in that Einsteinian grace. They'll see something new every time the ship rolls. The stars will truly wheel and dance, new patterns, new myths and fantasies. We will live something like we always did, or always wanted to, but more solitary. If loneliness was my concern, why couldn't I go with them? Not just that I was too set in my ways to want that much change, for I knew my life would never be the same, whatever I decided. No, I think I was too much in love with the night of the world. Not the pure vacuum-packed darkness of the void, but the lovely, imperfect blue-black of Earth, the wavering star's light bursting through like a revelation of mortality. And the other one? She was in love with the Earth itself. Its sweet spinning was fast enough for her. She wanted to watch the moon come up forever over the playground of rabbits and wolverines and bears and bright water. She loved the way the contents of the earth roiled and moiled around her. She wouldn't give that up for relentless foraging through a vacuum. So, here she is. That's the matter with some of us. We can't exist in a vacuum. Aware of gravity, we stand spellbound before the stars, but we don't want to get any closer. We love another force, the one that holds us together, to each other, to the ground. Don't ask me to name that force. I was unable even to give a name to the black dog, nor can I now remember that of the woman who was sharing my old years. They exist, that is all. I have no name myself. I have only got the place where I am. It has been enough. In the end, like the black dog, we will dissolve into gravity. We will dream dark earth dreams, or dream no more. You've been listening to pre-1990s speculative fiction readings with a highlight on science fiction by Darrell T. Smith II. Please consider clicking the donation link in the description box. Thank you so much for your time and your imagination.